Captain Alex Mercer stepped off the small shuttle and onto the glowing surface of Arithia 7. The air smelled faintly sweet, like honey mixed with fresh rain. Strange plants with shining leaves swayed gently, even though there was no wind. Crystals floated just above the ground, glowing softly in colors Alex had never seen before. He pulled out his scanner and began taking readings. Everything about this planet felt alive, almost like it was watching him. Alex had traveled to many planets before, but something about Arithia 7 felt different. There were no signs of cities, no structures, and yet he sensed intelligence. He wasn't sure if it came from the air itself, the plants, or something hidden beneath the crystals. The thought made his pulse quicken. Humans had always been explorers. It was in their nature to seek the unknown, to adapt, to survive in places where others might fail. That instinct had taken humanity to the stars, and here he was at the edge of the galaxy, hoping to find life that would prove humans were not alone. As he moved carefully between glowing crystal spires, a movement caught his eye. From behind, a tall cluster of crystalline trees, a figure appeared. Small, humanoid, but with large shimmering eyes that reflected the glowing landscape. Its skin had a soft pearlescent sheen, and long, slender fingers reached out as if curious but cautious. Alex froze. His training told him to stay calm, to avoid startling the creature. The figure tilted its head and took a cautious step forward. Alex held up a hand, a simple human gesture to show he meant no harm. Come in peace, he said softly. The creature's eyes widened slightly. Then, in a voice that sounded like a melody of chimes, it spoke a single word. Human? Alex blinked. Yes, human. My name is Alex Mercer. I am an explorer. The creature's eyes lit up. It moved closer, studying him carefully. Then, almost shyly, it spoke again. Lyria. Alex smiled, feeling a wave of relief. At least some form of communication was possible. Lyria. I like your name, he said. Lyria tilted her head, again, and then, surprisingly, she reached out a hand toward Alex's arm. It was a small gesture, but one that meant trust, or curiosity at least. Alex took her hand gently. Her skin was cool but soft, like smooth stone warmed by the sun. Come, Lyria said. She turned and started walking slowly, glancing back, to make sure Alex followed. He followed cautiously, scanning the surroundings. Soon they reached a small village hidden among the crystal trees. The village was simple, with homes made from the glowing crystals shaped into domes. The walls seemed alive, pulsating softly with light. Several more of Lyria's kind appeared, observing him with cautious curiosity. None spoke, but their eyes, large, expressive, watched every move he made. Alex bowed slightly, a human gesture of respect. The villagers murmured among themselves, and he could almost feel their thoughts. Curiosity, surprise, maybe a little worry. He realized that humans had something special. Humans could connect through gestures, expressions, and emotions in ways other species sometimes struggled to understand. It was why humans often succeeded in situations others could not. Lyria led him to the largest dome at the center of the village. Inside it was warm and softly glowing. A few elders approached, their faces lined and eyes bright. They spoke quickly among themselves, a language Alex did not understand. He tried to mimic their tones but only managed a clumsy imitation. Lyria giggled softly at his attempt, and he felt a little more at ease. Then she turned to him and said, something unexpected, sleep close. Alex froze. Sleep close? Lyria nodded earnestly. Trust. Share warmth. Protect. He looked around. The elders were watching him. He wasn't sure if they expected him to understand or to follow. Humans had a long history of making connections with others, even in unfamiliar situations. He could feel the weight of the moment. To refuse could be seen as rude. To accept might be strange for a human, but perhaps necessary to build trust. Alex swallowed. I will try. Lyria's eyes brightened. She reached out, holding his hand again. The gesture was simple, yet it carried a depth of meaning. Trust. Connection. Friendship. Alex felt a warmth in his chest. Humans had a way of forming bonds, even across worlds, even across species. That bond could make them stronger, smarter, and braver than others expected. That night, Alex followed Lyria to a soft, glowing platform inside the dome. Several villagers lay around, their bodies close together in a circle. Alex hesitated, feeling awkward, but Lyria gave his hand a reassuring squeeze. "Safe," she said. He nodded and settled down next to her. The warmth of her body was strange at first, but comforting. The hum of the crystals around them, combined with the gentle breathing of the villagers, created a calm, almost magical, atmosphere. Alex closed his eyes, realizing something profound. Humans survived not just through strength or technology, but through trust, connection, and courage. For hours he lay awake, listening to the soft whispers of alien voices and the gentle pulses of the glowing crystals. Lyria's small hand rested against his arm, a silent reminder of the bond forming between them. In that moment, Alex understood that humans were capable of remarkable things. They could adapt, communicate, and build trust in ways others could not. That trust could bridge worlds. As sleep finally claimed him, Alex felt a strange sense of excitement. Tomorrow, he would learn more about Lyria's people, their customs, and their world. But tonight, he had taken the first step in a journey that might change everything, not just for him, but for the humans who had dared to explore the stars. And somewhere deep in the crystal glow, Lyria smiled, feeling that humans, though different, were something special, something to be trusted, something to be admired. Morning arrived on Arithia 7 with a gentle hum of light. The crystals around the village shimmered like thousands of tiny stars. Captain Alex Mercer opened his eyes, feeling the soft warmth of Lyria's hand still resting against his arm. She was awake, her large iridescent eyes studying him curiously. "Good morning," Alex whispered. Lyria blinked and smiled, a soft sound like wind chimes escaping her throat. "Morning, human." Alex laughed quietly. Even though they spoke in broken English and gestures, a connection was forming. Humans had a way of reaching out, of making bonds even when words failed. Lyria seemed to understand that instinctively. He rose carefully and looked around. The other villagers were beginning their morning routines, tending glowing plants, shaping small crystal structures, and exchanging soft melodic sounds. Alex realized that observing and learning quickly was another human strength. Humans could adapt fast, read situations, and improvise when others were confused. Lyria noticed his gaze. "Learn fast?" she asked. Alex nodded. "Yes. Humans. We try to understand." Her eyes widened slightly as if impressed. She motioned for him to follow her, and together they walked through the village. Alex tried to mimic the villagers' gestures, their slight bows, and the way they touched the crystals lightly as they passed. Some smiled at his efforts, others remained curious. "Custom, close. Night," Lyria explained again, pointing to herself and Alex, then gesturing toward the village circle. "Trust, share, protect." Alex nodded slowly. "I understand. It is a sign of trust." Lyria's smile widened, and she grabbed his hand, leading him to the central dome where the elders gathered. The elders' voices rose and fell, in musical patterns. Alex watched carefully, noticing the subtle signs in their tone and movement. Humans had an uncanny ability to notice patterns and solve problems through observation, a skill the aliens seemed to admire silently. "You listen?" Lyria asked softly. "Yes," Alex replied. "I learn." The elders paused and regarded him with wide eyes. One stepped forward, placing a hand on a crystal pillar. It glowed brighter under his touch. Then he gestured toward Alex. Alex understood. He was being invited to show what he could do. He hesitated. He had no alien powers, no way to touch crystals like them. But humans had ingenuity. He examined the pillar, touching it lightly and then tapping it in a rhythm he thought might match the elder's song. Slowly, the pillar glowed steadily, in harmony with the others. The villagers gasped softly. Alex smiled. Humans might not have alien abilities, but they could solve problems. Creatively, he could adapt. That instinct, that flexibility, often allowed humans to succeed where others could not. Lyria squeezed his hand. Human? Smart, she said. Alex chuckled. Thank you, Lyria. You, smart too. The elders nodded at each other. Though Alex could not understand all of their language, he felt the approval. He was beginning to bridge the cultural gap, and humans were showing their unique value. Empathy, reasoning, and courage in unfamiliar situations. Later, Alex joined the villagers in their work. He helped lift glowing plant pods, arranging them in patterns that made the crystals pulse brighter. Lyria stayed close, guiding him when needed. She was fascinated by how humans could combine simple tools and intelligence to create solutions. As the day passed, Alex learned more about Erythian customs. The sleep close ritual was not merely about physical proximity. It was a way of sharing emotions, building trust, and protecting each other. On their planet, emotional energy was real, almost tangible. Physical closeness allowed the aliens to sense one another's feelings. Alex tried to explain a human version of this concept. Humans, we also share feelings, stories, laughter. We protect each other too. Lyria's eyes sparkled. She leaned in slightly, touching his arm. Share. The next day on Erythia 7 was brighter than before. Sunlight filtered through the floating crystal formations, casting rainbows across the village. Captain Alex Mercer followed Lyria as she led him beyond the familiar domes, deeper into the forest of glowing plants. Each step revealed colors, shapes, and light patterns Alex had never seen. His human curiosity and keen observation skills made him notice small details. How the plants moved slightly as if greeting them, how the crystals hummed a soft tone that changed when touched. Listen, Lyria whispered, tilting her head. Her large eyes focused on the faint hum in the air. Alex paused. The sound was subtle, almost imperceptible to the untrained ear, but humans had a talent for noticing small patterns. He closed his eyes and tuned in, hearing a faint rhythm in the pulses of the crystals. Yes, I hear it, he said. Lyria smiled, clearly impressed. Humans hear different, she said. They continued walking until they reached a clearing. At its center was a large crystal formation, shaped like a spiral staircase rising into the sky. The air around it shimmered, almost vibrating with energy. Alex's scanner went wild, readings spiking beyond anything he had seen. This, something important, he said. Lyria nodded. Old, very old, secrets. As Alex touched the base of the crystal, a sudden wave of light enveloped him. He gasped, feeling a strange energy coursing through him. Lyria grabbed his hand tightly. Hold tight, she urged. The light around them shifted, forming shapes and patterns. Alex saw visions, images of the planet's past. Massive cities made of crystal, aliens building intricate machines, and humans, but in a form he did not recognize, floating among the stars. He realized these were memories stored in the crystal itself. What is this? Alex whispered, awe filling his voice. Memory. Crystal. Shows past, Lyria explained. Very old. Before. Now. Alex tried to understand, focusing on the patterns. Humans had an ability that other species often lacked, intuition. He pieced together the flashes, recognizing a warning hidden among them. a machine capable of draining life from the planet, left dormant but not destroyed. Lyria's eyes widened. "Danger? Come?" she asked. "Maybe," Alex replied, gripping her hand. Humans had a talent for solving problems quickly, even in new and frightening situations. He could see a way to understand the machine, to prevent it from harming the planet. They spent hours in the clearing, studying the visions. Alex noticed that Lyria and the other villagers lacked the ability to interpret the patterns as he did. Humans could connect dots, see relationships, and make decisions without telepathy or complex rituals. That gift, that combination of observation and reasoning made humans special. Finally, the visions faded, leaving them standing in the glowing clearing. Alex looked at Lyria. "We must learn more. We stop danger," he said. She nodded, her large eyes full of trust. "Together, humans help. Good," she said. As they made their way back to the village, Alex felt a deep sense of purpose. Humans were not only explorers, they were problem solvers. They could face danger with courage and cleverness. And the trust Lyria showed by holding his hand staying close reminded him that connection was another human strength. That night, the villagers gathered in the central dome as usual. Alex shared what he had discovered, without words, using gestures, drawings, and simple phrases. Humans had a way of communicating ideas clearly, even when language failed. The elders listened carefully, nodding slowly. "You see plan?" Alex asked, pointing to sketches he had drawn in the glowing sand. One elder touched the diagrams, their eyes wide. Alex realized they could understand him, because humans had a talent for teaching through demonstration. He didn't need telepathy or ancient rituals. He could show and explain, and the aliens could follow. Lyria stayed by his side, holding his hand tightly. She whispered, "Human, smart, strong, heart." Alex smiled. "Humans, learn, fast," he replied softly. Later, while the village slept, Alex and Lyria returned to the clearing to study the crystal one more time. The light pulses seemed to respond to them, almost as if the planet itself recognized their curiosity and courage. Alex placed his hand on the spiral crystal and traced the symbols with his fingers. He understood more with each touch. Humans had a remarkable quality, adaptability. Even in the face of something completely alien, they could learn, understand, and act. He realized that this skill might save not only the villagers but the entire planet. Lyria leaned closer. "Trust. Human. Help. Now?" she asked softly. Alex squeezed her hand. "Yes. Together. Humans. Strong. Hearts. Solve problem." The crystal responded, pulsing brighter, sending waves of light across the clearing. Alex felt a strange energy. Within him, knowledge, insight, and courage all mixed together. He knew that humans, with their ability to connect, reason, and act, could face challenges that seemed impossible. As they walked back to the village under the shimmering glow of the floating crystals, Alex felt a renewed sense of pride. Humans were explorers, learners, and problem solvers. They could inspire trust, build alliances, and create solutions where others failed. And in Lyria's eyes, he saw admiration for these very human traits. That night, as they joined the ritual, again Lyria curled against him, whispering softly, "Human, different, good." Alex smiled, feeling a warmth that had little to do with the glow of the crystals. He realized that humans were remarkable, not just because of strength or intelligence, but because of heart, courage, curiosity, empathy, and connection. These were the qualities that made humans stand out in the galaxy. And somewhere in the soft hum of Arithia 7, the crystal forest seemed to recognize it too. The night passed with a sense of peace and purpose. Alex knew tomorrow would bring new discoveries, new challenges, and perhaps danger. But humans were ready. They had trust, ingenuity, and courage. They had hearts that could reach across species, across worlds, and change the fate of planets. For the first time Alex felt that humans were not just visitors, they were vital. And with Lyria by his side, he knew that together they could face whatever mysteries Arithia 7 held. The morning sun painted the crystal village in soft shades of gold and blue. Captain Alex Mercer awoke to the familiar hum of the floating crystals. Lyria was already awake, watching him with her large, iridescent eyes. Her hand brushed his arm as she whispered, "Morning. Human. Ready?" Alex smiled and nodded. "Yes. Ready to learn. Help." Humans had always excelled at building trust, even in difficult situations. Alex knew that every small step he took today could strengthen the bond between him and the villagers, and that trust could be more powerful than any weapon. Lyria led him to the village square where several elders waited. Alex noticed some villagers looked skeptical, their glowing eyes narrowing slightly. They had accepted him into the nightly ritual, but earning their full trust would take more than participation. It would take action, patience, and understanding. One elder stepped forward and extended a hand toward a small crystal device embedded in the ground. The device pulsed faintly as if alive. The elder gestured toward Alex, then the device, and finally Lyria. Alex understood quickly. The device was important, and the elder wanted him to interact with it. He approached carefully. "Hello, I am Alex. I learn," he said. Using slow movements, he touched the device lightly. Nothing happened at first, but humans were good at observing patterns. He noticed the pulse of the crystals surrounding the device matched a rhythm in the elder's voice. He tapped the device in time with the rhythm. Slowly it lit up, responding to the energy. The villagers gasped softly. Alex realized humans had an advantage here: creativity and intuition. Where others relied only on inherited knowledge or instinct, humans could combine observation and reasoning to solve new problems. Lyria squeezed his hand. "Human. Clever," she said, her voice soft but filled with pride. The elder nodded, slowly, a faint smile appearing on his face. Alex felt a rush of satisfaction. Humans might not have the same abilities as the Erithians, but they could make things happen through clever thinking, patience, and courage. For the rest of the morning, Alex helped the villagers with their daily tasks. He moved glowing plant pods into careful arrangements, assisted in shaping crystal structures, and learned more about the subtle language of touch the Erithians used. Every action was an opportunity to build trust. Humans had a way of doing this, naturally. By helping, observing, and listening, Alex was bridging the gap between species. During lunch, Alex and Lyria sat near a small pool of liquid crystal. The light reflected across their faces, creating a shimmering halo. Lyria looked at him curiously. "Human, why help?" Alex paused. Humans often acted for reasons beyond survival, because of empathy, because of connection, because it was the right thing to do. Humans help because friends protect, care, he said slowly. Lyria tilted her head. "Friends protect, good," she repeated. "Human, different, special." Alex smiled. That was exactly the lesson humans had been teaching across worlds for centuries, that trust, connection, and courage were as important as strength or skill. Later that day, the elders called for Alex and Lyria to join them at the edge of the crystal forest. They had discovered unusual energy readings from deep within, readings that even the Erithians could not fully understand. Alex's human intuition and adaptability could make a difference. As they walked, Lyria explained, "Deep, forest, old, secrets, dangerous." Alex nodded. The morning light on Arithia 7 shimmered across the crystal forest as Captain Alex Mercer prepared for another day of exploration. The village was quiet, but the energy in the air felt tense. Lyria approached him, her eyes wide and serious. "Today, go deeper," she said softly, Danger, maybe find. Alex nodded. Humans had always faced danger with courage, using both intelligence and instinct. Yes, careful, together, he said, gripping her hand. The bond between them gave him strength, and humans thrived on these connections. They made them braver, smarter, and more adaptable. The two of them moved past the familiar areas of the village into the dense crystal forest. The trees glowed with soft pulses, lighting a path that seemed to guide them. Alex noticed that the pulses changed in rhythm, almost like a warning signal. Humans had an uncanny ability to read patterns, to detect subtle changes in the environment. He studied them carefully, knowing that observation could save their lives. After walking for several hours, they arrived at a clearing dominated by a massive crystal structure, partially buried in the ground. Its shape was unlike anything Alex had ever seen, mechanical yet organic, alive with a faint energy that made the air hum. This machine? Alex asked, awe in his voice. Lyria nodded slowly. Old, very old, dangerous, she said. Told legends, warned, but no one. Fix. Alex studied the machine. He could see faint inscriptions along its surface, pulsing in a rhythm that matched the energy of the surrounding crystals. Humans had a talent for problem-solving, for understanding patterns and figuring out solutions in ways others could not. This was their moment to shine. Maybe humans can help, he said quietly, mostly to himself. Lyria squeezed his hand, trusting him completely. Alex carefully approached the machine. As he traced the inscriptions with his fingers, it began to respond, glowing brighter and sending waves of energy through the clearing. He realized that it was not fully activated yet, but if it were, it could drain life from the planet, just as the visions had shown. We stop now? Lyria asked, her voice trembling slightly. Yes, it must. Figure. Way, Alex replied. Humans had the ability to remain calm under pressure, to think clearly in dangerous situations, and to act decisively. He began testing the machine, observing how the energy responded to touch, pressure, and sound. Hours passed as Alex experimented carefully, his mind working quickly. Humans had another gift: adaptability. Even in an entirely alien environment with alien technology, he could improvise, combining logic, intuition, and patience to find a solution. Finally, he discovered a sequence that could deactivate the machine. Yes, found way, he whispered, relief flooding him. But as he prepared to execute the final step, a sudden pulse of energy erupted from the machine. The air crackled with electricity, and crystals around them vibrated violently. Lyria grabbed his hand tightly. Hold tight! Now! Alex responded immediately, holding her close. Humans had long used teamwork and trust to survive impossible situations. Their ability to rely on each other, to act together in moments of danger, often made them stronger than more powerful species. With careful precision, Alex completed the sequence. The machine shuddered, its energy dimming. Slowly, it powered down completely, the threat neutralized. Lyria's eyes shone with admiration and relief. You, human, amazing, she said softly. Save planet. Alex smiled, feeling both pride and humility. Humans could do remarkable things, but it was trust, connection, and courage that made them truly effective. Lyria had believed in him, and together they had faced a danger that no Erythian alone could have solved. As they returned to the village, word spread quickly of what had happened. The villagers watched in awe as Alex explained, through gestures and simple words, what he had discovered and how he had deactivated the machine. They were amazed at the humans' ingenuity, bravery, and ability to adapt in a completely alien environment. That evening, the village gathered for the nightly ritual, but it was different this time. There was a sense of celebration and deep respect. Alex lay next to Lyria, feeling the connection that had grown stronger through their shared experience. The other villagers participated more openly, mimicking small gestures of trust and warmth. Humans had a way of teaching by example, and the villagers were beginning to learn. Lyria rested her head against his shoulder, her voice soft. Human, strong, heart, clever, brave. Alex smiled. Humans, trust, help, care, he whispered. It was more than just survival instinct. It was empathy, courage, and the willingness to act for others. Humans had a unique strength that allowed them to build bonds and face challenges in ways other species could not. The crystal forest around them pulsed gently, as if acknowledging the humans' courage and the bond they had forged. Alex realized that humans were not just explorers. They were catalysts for change. They could solve problems, inspire trust, and protect life in ways that others could only admire. As night fell, Alex and Lyria remained close, surrounded by the soft glow of the village. Alex reflected on the events of the day. Humans' greatest strength was not just intelligence or physical skill, it was heart. Their courage, empathy, and ability to connect with others allowed them to achieve extraordinary things, even in worlds far from home. Lyria whispered again. Human, different, very special. Alex nodded, feeling a sense of fulfillment. The journey on Arithia 7 was far from over, but one thing was clear. Humans could make a real difference. Their adaptability, trustworthiness, and courage could change the fate of a planet, earn the respect of alien civilizations, and build bonds that crossed species, cultures, and worlds. As sleep took him that night, Alex felt ready for the challenges to come. The planet had secrets yet to uncover, mysteries to explore, and perhaps new dangers to face. But humans were prepared. With courage, intelligence, and heart, they could face anything. And with Lyria at his side, he knew they would not face it alone. The morning on Arithia 7 was calm, yet charged with quiet excitement. Captain Alex Mercer woke to the soft hum of the village crystals and the gentle touch of Lyria's hand on his arm. Today was different. The villagers had watched him face the hidden threat, and something had shifted in their perception. Humans were no longer strangers. They were allies, and perhaps even heroes. Morning. Human, Lyria whispered, her eyes glowing softly. Ready today? Alex smiled. Yes, we help, together. Humans had a special strength, the ability to remain calm under pressure and act with courage and intelligence. That combination, along with trust and empathy, allowed them to shine in ways other species sometimes could not. The elders gathered in the village square, their faces lined but their expressions filled with anticipation. Alex and Lyria approached, ready to discuss the plan for the planet's future. The machine they had deactivated was only one part of a larger network, hidden deep within the crystal forest. Humans' problem-solving ability would be essential in understanding it fully. Lyria pointed to a glowing path leading deeper into the forest. Network. Many. Energy. Dangerous, she said. Alex studied it. Humans had a talent for mapping, for seeing patterns where others could not. He traced the path with his finger on a small crystal map and began planning. Step, careful, one by one. Watch. Test, he said. The villagers nodded slowly. They trusted him now. Humans had a unique way of inspiring confidence, not through dominance or power, but through reasoning, observation, and courage. Lyria squeezed his hand, a silent reminder of that trust. Together they moved into the forest. The deeper they went, the stronger the energy pulses became. Alex could sense that the network of crystals was ancient, its purpose tied to the survival of the planet. Lyria stayed close, her trust unwavering. Humans often thrived in these moments, able to act decisively, think creatively, and use teamwork to overcome obstacles. At the heart of the forest, they found the largest crystal structure yet. It pulsed with intense energy, glowing brighter than anything Alex had ever seen. He realized that this was the main control node, the key to the planet's balance. This central, important, very, Alex whispered. Humans had a gift for understanding complex systems quickly, using logic, intuition, and patience. He examined the patterns of light and energy, noting how small changes in one crystal affected the others. Lyria watched, wide-eyed. Human. See, understand? Alex nodded. Yes. Humans. Learn. Adapt. Solve. He knew that with careful actions, they could stabilize the network permanently. The work took hours. Alex directed Lyria and a small group of villagers, showing them exactly what to do. Humans had a natural ability to lead by example, to teach, and to inspire cooperation. The villagers followed his instructions, their earlier skepticism replaced by trust and admiration. Finally, the last pulse aligned. The network glowed steadily, harmonious and calm. Alex stepped back, wiping sweat from his brow. Lyria's eyes shone with pride. You, human, save planet, she said softly. Alex smiled, feeling a deep sense of fulfillment. Humans had a strength that was often invisible at first glance. Courage, intelligence, empathy, and the ability to connect with others. That combination had made them capable of incredible achievements. The villagers gathered around, celebrating, quietly. They touched the stabilized crystals, feeling the energy flow safely through the forest. They had seen humans face unknown dangers, solve problems with creativity, and act with courage. They were